The universe had always been quiet. Too quiet, some would say, and humanity had spent centuries learning to listen. From the tiny blue dot of Earth, humans had looked at the stars and wondered if anyone else was out there. And eventually they discovered the truth. There were others. Countless civilizations, strange and magnificent, filled the galaxy with wonders and dangers humanity had only dreamed of. But to these civilizations, Earth was nothing. Humans were weak, insignificant, and most importantly, silent. The aliens laughed at their silence. On the outer edges of the Andromeda sector, great fleets of shimmering ships moved with confidence. Each vessel was vast and terrifying, powered by technologies humans had yet to imagine. The aliens spoke among themselves in strange clicks and resonances, mocking Earth, mocking humanity. The humans are soft, their voices are whispers, they will never roar. Yet no one told the aliens that silence could be deceiving. On Earth, in the observation halls of the United Nations Space Command, the weight of the galaxy pressed heavily on the shoulders of Commander Alara Singh. She was tall, with sharp eyes that seemed to see both the present and the distant future at once. Around her, the hum of computers and the soft voices of technicians created a quiet rhythm, almost meditative, as they monitored every movement in nearby space. Ilara's heart ached with the knowledge of humanity's fragility. They had no fleets to match these alien empires. Their defenses were small, scattered, barely enough to protect one colony, let alone the entire solar system. But in the depth of her soul, a spark burned, a stubborn, defiant hope. Humanity had survived wars, plagues, and disasters that had tested the limits of endurance. Why should the galaxy's laughter matter? Children on Earth played under the stars, unaware of the dangers lurking in the void. Families dined beside windows that framed distant suns like tiny candles. And yet, humanity kept looking up. For every alien fleet that mocked them, humans quietly prepared. Silent factories on Mars churned tirelessly, engineers on the Moon experimented with energy fields, and scientists in the hidden laboratories of Europa tested engines that could bend light. Every step, every invention was a quiet promise. Humanity would not remain meek forever. Despite the danger, life on Earth continued with its fragile beauty. Birds still sang in forests untouched by war, rivers ran through valleys with the same ancient rhythm, and oceans reflected the skies in perfect harmony. Humanity was small, but it was alive, and life, no matter how quiet, has a strength of its own. The aliens did not understand patience. They did not see the quiet determination that burned behind human eyes. Their scouts moved close to Earth's colonies, expecting nothing but vulnerability. They wanted to provoke fear, to witness humanity trembling before superior technology. But the humans did not tremble. They watched silently, calculating, learning. Every laugh from the alien fleets was met with measured observation. Every taunt, every assumption of weakness, was stored like firewood for a storm yet to come. Commander Singh walked along the corridors of the Mothership construction facility on Mars, a place so secret that only a handful of humans knew its true purpose. It was vast, stretching for miles, yet every corner hummed with life. Engineers in protective suits moved between workstations, their faces lit by the glow of welding arcs and energy cores. They were building humanity's first true weapon of power, the Mothership. A vessel not just of metal and circuits, but of ambition, hope, and defiance. The Mothership was a marvel, larger than any human eyes had imagined, spanning kilometers from tip to tip. Its engines were designed to harness energy from stars themselves, a quiet defiance of physics, a challenge to every alien mind that had ever underestimated humans. Weapons were carefully integrated into its hull, not for mindless destruction, but for precision, for control, for showing the galaxy that humanity would fight if it had to. Ilara paused before a massive viewport, gazing at the nearly completed vessel. Its dark, angular surface reflected the light of distant stars like a shard of night itself. She imagined the day it would awaken, the day the universe would see that humans were not as silent or as weak as everyone believed. She imagined the faces of alien commanders when they realized that the whispers they had ignored were the steps of a giant rising from slumber. And yet, even with the mothership nearly ready, doubt crept in. Could humanity truly face the fleets of the galaxy? Could they survive the storm that was surely coming? Ilara clenched her fists. Doubt was natural, yes, but hope was stronger. The human spirit had always been underestimated. In every corner of history, from ancient Earth battles to the first flights into space, humans had defied odds that seemed impossible. Why should this time be different? Meanwhile, far from Earth, alien fleets continued their patrols, their movements elegant and deliberate, as though the galaxy itself were their playground. Their pilots laughed, shared tales of how easily they would crush the human colonies, how small, how foolish, and how silent Earth truly was. They will never rise, they said, unaware that the quietest storms often bring the most devastating tempests. On a small space station orbiting Saturn, a young human engineer named Kale Malik adjusted the energy cores for the mothership's engines. He was tired, sleep-deprived, and unsure if his work would ever be tested. But he believed in something larger than himself, a vision of humanity standing proud among the stars. When he finally looked at the dormant engines, he whispered softly, "We will not be silent forever." In the dark void beyond Pluto, alien, scouts approached one of Earth's hidden colonies. Their sensors detected no threat, no fleet, no real resistance. They laughed, their voices cold and harsh, but they did not notice the faint flicker in the darkness, the quiet preparations of humanity's silent war machine, waiting for the perfect moment to awaken. Back on Mars, Commander Singh walked among the engineers, her presence both comforting and commanding. "Every bolt, every wire, every calculation matters," she said. "The galaxy may laugh at us now, but when the time comes, they will see that humanity's silence is not weakness, it is patience. And patience is power." As night fell on Earth, the stars above seemed to shine brighter, reflecting humanity's quiet determination. People looked up at the sky, some unaware of the cosmic dangers, others dreaming of adventure and glory. Humanity was small, yes, fragile, yes, but it was alive, unbroken, and growing stronger every day. The aliens laughed, but their laughter traveled across empty space, met only with the quiet hum of human engines, the whisper of calculated preparations, and the unyielding will of a species that refused to be dismissed. And somewhere deep within the hidden shipyards of Mars, the first mothership waited, patient and immense, ready to awaken and let the universe know that silence could be louder than any weapon. Commander Singh stood alone for a moment, looking at the stars that had once seemed so distant. "We are not nothing," she whispered. "We are not silent, and soon the galaxy will understand." The universe remained quiet that night, but a storm was coming, and when it arrived, no laughter would remain. Time passed like a slow river, and humanity continued to grow in secret. While the alien fleets moved across the stars, confident and proud, humans built quietly, tirelessly, and with determination that no one else could measure. On Earth, Mars, and hidden stations beyond the asteroid belt, engineers, scientists, and dreamers worked together on projects that would one day change the galaxy forever. They had no empires, no vast armies, no legions of ships. Yet they had something the aliens could not see: patience. The first mothership was no ordinary vessel. It was a creation of human ingenuity and imagination, a monument to resilience, hope, and courage. Its hull stretched over kilometers, dark and sharp against the void, engines humming with barely contained power, as if the ship itself were alive. Inside, laboratories and bridges hummed with activity, and corridors were filled with the quiet footsteps of those who knew their work could decide the fate of humanity. Commander Ilara Singh walked along the main deck, her eyes scanning the crew, as they tested energy reactors and weapons systems. Every face she saw reflected determination, fear, and pride all at once. Every individual understood the gravity of their task. Humanity had never faced a real threat on this scale, but they had survived against impossible odds before. Now, for the first time in history, they would face an enemy that assumed their silence meant weakness. Meanwhile, alien scouts continued their patrols near the outer colonies. They moved with elegance, their crystal-like hulls glinting in starlight, their communications filled with derision. "They are nothing," their commanders said. "No fleet, no strength, no real defense. They will be easy to crush." The aliens were wrong. On Mars, Kale Malik, the young engineer, worked tirelessly on the mothership's engine cores. His hands were blistered, his eyes tired, but his mind remained sharp. He adjusted the plasma conduits and energy couplings, ensuring that the vessel could draw the power of the sun itself without collapsing under its own force. Around him, other engineers performed similar tasks, each of them a guardian of humanity's future. They were quiet, focused, and resolute in day. The observation hall, Ilara watched live feeds from colonies that the aliens considered defenseless. They were small stations, vulnerable to even the smallest attack. Yet humanity had learned to adapt. Hidden turrets, energy shields, and cloaked drones waited silently for the moment they would awaken. Each colony, each installation, had been carefully planned to be a part of something much larger, a net of human defense that no alien had considered. The aliens, still unaware, sent another scout toward the colony on Europa. It glided past Saturn's rings, its sensors scanning for life, weapons, or resistance. What it found was a quiet world. No ships, no armies, only small settlements and empty hangars. The alien crew laughed. "Even their greatest colonies are nothing," they said, unaware that the quiet was intentional, deliberate, and dangerous. Ilara's voice cut through the communications channel, calm yet firm. "They may think we are weak. They may assume we have nothing. But remember this, they have never faced humans prepared. Patience is our strength, and when the time comes, it will strike like fire." Her words were met with nods, though the weight of responsibility hung heavily over everyone. Humanity had always dreamed of the stars, but now dreams were turning into something far more real, something that would demand courage, sacrifice, and the willingness to face death for the survival of an entire species. On the mothership's bridge, officers monitored alien movements. Sensors picked up their patrol patterns, their fleet formations, and the routines of their scouts. Every piece of data was analyzed, recorded, and filed. The humans were learning, studying, and waiting. They knew the aliens would come, but they also knew that when the first strike happened, it had to be decisive. Far away, in the darkness beyond Neptune, a scout approached Earth's hidden colony in the Kuiper Belt. Its sensors detected no life, no ships, no weapons. Its crew laughed, broadcasting messages back to the alien fleets. "Humans are small, weak, and silent. They are not even worth our time." Yet on the colony, deep beneath the ice and rock, humans were awake. Hidden launch bays opened silently. Drones powered up in the shadows, and automated turrets came to life. Sensors tracked the alien scout, every movement predicted, every path calculated. Humanity's silence was no longer empty. It was preparation, strategy, and a promise. Kale, Malik adjusted the energy flow to the mothership's primary engines. A surge of power ran through the conduits, glowing bright in the dim light. The engines hummed, resonated, and thrummed with life. "Soon," he whispered, "they will see us." Elira Singh stood on the observation deck, gazing at the distant colony. The scout was closer now, unaware of the trap laid before it. "They think silence is weakness," she said softly. "But we have learned patience, and patience can be the deadliest weapon." Suddenly, a warning light flashed. The alien scout had entered the detection range of one of the hidden colonies. Automated systems calculated trajectory, fired targeting lasers, and prepared for the strike. Humans held their breath. Silence filled the control room, broken only by the hum of engines and the soft clicks of computers calculating every possibility. When the first strike hit, it was swift and precise. Tiny drones, almost invisible to the alien sensors, struck at critical systems. Plasma pulses disabled engines. Shields collapsed. The scouts' laughter turned to confusion, then fear, as humans revealed the first hint of their power. Ilara's voice resonated across the colony. "We do not move blindly. We do not act without reason. They have laughed at our silence for too long. Now they will learn that silence is not weakness." The scout, damaged and retreating, transmitted emergency messages back to the alien fleet. Panic spread among the alien commanders. Their assumptions were wrong. Humanity was not meek. Humanity had been building, waiting, and learning. Every laugh they had shared at Earth's expense now became a warning. The quiet ones are often the deadliest. In the mothership hangar, the final adjustments were completed. Its engines glowed with the first hints of fire, and weapon systems aligned with precision. Humanity's largest vessel was ready. For decades, the galaxy had ignored the whispers of humans. For decades, the aliens had laughed. But the time for silence was ending. Commander Singh looked at her crew, each face reflecting fear, hope, and determination. "We have waited long enough," she said. "They will see us soon, and when they do, they will know that every whisper we ever made was a storm waiting to rise." As night fell on Earth and Mars, as the stars shimmered in silent testimony, humans prepared for the moment that would change everything. Their silence had been long, deliberate, and full of purpose. The first mothership, hidden and immense, waited in the outer reaches of the solar system, ready to awaken and show the galaxy that humanity's patience had created something far stronger than any alien laugh could anticipate. And in the darkness, across light years of space, alien fleets continued to move, unaware that the whispers they had ignored were about to become a roar unlike anything the universe had ever heard. The silent threat of humanity had arrived. The silence of the void was shattered at last. For decades, humanity had watched, waited, and prepared, and now the first step of their long plan was about to be revealed. From the distant Kuiper Belt, the mothership stirred. Its colossal engines ignited, sending a deep red glow across the darkness. Lights blazed along its hull like the eyes of a sleeping giant opening for the first time. Commander Elira Singh stood on the bridge, her hands steady on the control console. Every officer, every engineer, every technician felt the weight of the moment. The galaxy had believed that humans were small, weak, and silent. They had laughed, dismissed Earth as a minor curiosity. And now, humanity would show them the cost of underestimation. "Status report," Elira commanded. All systems were green. Weapons arrays aligned, engines at full power. Automated drones in orbit were ready. Every hidden turret across the solar system was active, each one a part of a vast and intricate web. Humanity was no longer silent. It was awake. Far away, alien. Scouts had detected the movement. Their crystalline hulls reflected the distant starlight as they adjusted course toward what they assumed would be an easy target. "Prepare to witness weakness," one pilot said, his voice tinged with arrogance. "They cannot hope to resist us." The first shots came not from the mothership itself, but from the hidden colonies. Automated drones streaked through space like silent arrows. Precision beams struck the alien scout, disabling engines, cutting, communication arrays, and frying systems. The scout's laughter turned to alarm, then terror. It tried to flee, but the humans had calculated every possibility, predicting every evasive maneuver. Ilara's voice was calm but firm. "They mocked our silence. Now let them hear our roar." The mothership moved, slowly at first, then with terrifying speed. Its weapons activated, plasma lances extending like jagged fingers of fire. Nova cannons powered up, drawing energy from the stars themselves. Each weapon, each strike, was precise, almost artistic, a demonstration of human intelligence and determination. The aliens had assumed chaos, but humans were not chaotic. They were deliberate, calculated, and deadly. The alien fleets, once confident, began to falter. Communications crackled with panic. "They are not weak! They are prepared!" one officer shouted. But it was too late. The mothership unleashed its first volley, and stars themselves seemed to dim beneath the fire. Plasma lances tore through scout ships, cutting them apart like paper. Nova cannons erupted with blinding brilliance, illuminating the darkness in fiery bursts. On the mothership's bridge, young engineers and seasoned captains alike felt the thrill of victory mixed with fear. Every strike was perfect, every calculation exact. But the weight of what they had become pressed down upon them. Humanity had been underestimated for too long, and now they were showing the galaxy the truth. Silence is not weakness. Kale Malik, still on the engineering deck, monitored the engines with meticulous care. Each surge of energy from the fusion, cores sent vibrations through the hull. "We are the storm they never expected," he whispered, watching the alien ships fall one by one. Across the solar system, humans watched in awe and fear. Families on distant colonies could see the flashes of the battle from orbit. Children stared at the sky, eyes wide, as humanity's hidden power revealed itself. For the first time, the universe knew that humans were not quiet observers. They were warriors, creators, and survivors. The alien commanders tried to regroup, attempting to form a defensive line. Their arrogance was gone, replaced by desperation. "Focus on the mothership," one bellowed, but their efforts were futile. Every move had been predicted, every path calculated. Humanity was no longer hiding. They were a tidal wave of fire, precision, and will. Ilara watched the chaos from the bridge, her hands gripping the console. "Maintain formation. Do not waste power unnecessarily," she ordered. Her voice carried calm authority, a beacon in the storm. "Every strike counts. Every life counts. We are not just fighting for survival. We are showing the universe who we are." The mothership's Nova cannons fired again, sending a wave of concentrated energy toward the alien fleet. Stars flared with the explosions, and for a moment the void seemed alive with fire. Alien ships disintegrated in brilliant flashes of light, their confidence shattered. Humanity had risen from silence, and the galaxy had no choice but to watch. In the midst of the chaos, smaller human vessels emerged from hidden jump points. They were nimble, fast, and deadly. They attacked from multiple angles, harrying the alien formations, creating confusion, and ensuring that the mothership could strike without obstruction. The humans were not just fighting, they were orchestrating. A symphony of war, every note precise, every strike deliberate. Ilara Singh allowed herself a small, rare smile. The plan was working. Humanity's patience, ingenuity, and courage had created something greater than any single weapon. They had become a force the galaxy could no longer ignore. The aliens, those who had laughed so openly at human weakness, now faced horror and disbelief. Their fleets, their pride, their assumption of superiority, all were crumbling under the relentless, controlled fury of the humans. Panic spread like wildfire. Ships that had once glided with confidence now floundered in space, unable to match the strategy and precision of a species they had underestimated. Kale Malik leaned against a console, exhausted but exhilarated. "We waited," he said softly, "and now they see us." Alara looked out at the battlefield, at the scorched trails of alien ships, and felt the heavy weight of responsibility. Victory was possible, yes, but it came at a cost. The silence they had kept for so long had protected humanity, but the universe would never again underestimate them. Humanity had revealed itself, and with that revelation came both power and danger. Even as the battle raged, a new feeling filled the bridge. Awe. Humans had always looked up at the stars with wonder, but now they were a part of it, no longer observers but participants. They were shaping the galaxy with their actions, their courage, and their will. And in that moment, every human aboard, the Mothership, understood something profound. They were not merely defending themselves. They were claiming their place among the stars. As the first wave of alien forces began to retreat, broken and terrified, Ilara spoke to her crew. "We have shown them that humanity is not silent. We have shown them that patience, courage, and unity are stronger than arrogance. Remember this moment, because the galaxy will never forget it." The Mothership glowed with residual energy from its weapons, engines thrumming with the quiet hum of power. Humanity's first strike had been decisive, precise, and unforgettable. And while the aliens fled, their minds forever haunted by the human roar they had ignored, the humans knew the battle was only the beginning. Above them, the stars continued to burn, but now humanity's light shone among them. They had emerged from silence, strong and unyielding, leaving the galaxy with a single, undeniable truth. Humans were no longer weak, and their voice would never be ignored again. In the darkness of space, the first Mothership moved forward, its course set for the outer reaches, ready to continue humanity's claim among the stars. And somewhere deep in the alien fleets, commanders who had once laughed were left to wonder, terrified and humbled, what else a species so long underestimated could achieve. The silence of humanity had ended. In its place burned fire, precision, and unyielding will, a fire that would change the galaxy forever. The alien fleets had retreated, scattering across the void like frightened shadows. The galaxy had never seen such precision, such fury, such unyielding strength from a species it had assumed weak. Humanity had risen, and the universe would never be the same. On the bridge of the Mothership, Commander Alara Singh allowed herself a rare moment of relief. The battle was over, for now, but the echoes of what had happened would reverberate forever. Around her, the crew wiped sweat from their brows, exchanged looks of disbelief and pride, and slowly began to understand the magnitude of what they had achieved. For decades, humanity had been underestimated, dismissed, and laughed at. Now, they had proven that their silence was not weakness. It was patience, preparation, and power. Kale Malik, the young engineer, stood near the engine control panels, his hands still glowing faintly from the energy flows he had managed. "We did it," he said softly, almost in awe. "They can't laugh at us anymore." "No," Alara replied, her eyes still fixed on the empty space where the alien fleets had been moments ago. "They will never laugh at us again." News of the battle spread quickly. Across human colonies and stations, people watched the skies, caught glimpses of the flashes from the Mothership's weapons and realized that their species was no longer a whisper among the stars. Humanity had made its mark. Families in orbit stared at the trails of fire, children clutched their parents' hands in awe, and scientists in remote labs smiled through tears, knowing that every secret project, every hidden invention, had contributed to this victory. But victory was not without reflection. Ilara walked the corridors of the Mothership, stopping to speak with crew members who had faced the battle firsthand. Each face told a story. Fear, courage, exhaustion, pride. Every person had played a part in humanity's awakening. She knew that the galaxy had changed, not just because of fire and weapons, but because humans had shown that determination and unity could achieve the impossible. In distant systems, alien civilizations began to take notice. Messages traveled at faster-than-light speeds, warning others of the humans' sudden rise. The laughter that had once filled the void was replaced by caution, fear, and hesitation. Humans were no longer insignificant. Even the most powerful empires paused, recalculating strategies, wondering how a species so long dismissed could strike with such precision and strength. Back on Earth, celebrations were quiet but profound. People gathered beneath the stars, sharing stories and memories, reflecting on the long years of preparation that had brought them here. The battle had proven more than military strength. It had proven that humanity could endure, could plan, and could rise above every expectation. In a quiet chamber aboard the Mothership, Ilara allowed herself a moment alone. She gazed out at the stars, the same stars that had once seemed distant, unreachable, and uncaring. Now they were witnesses to humanity's defiance. She thought of the engineers, scientists, and countless humans who had worked in secret, many of whom would never see the fruits of their labor. Every life, every effort, every sacrifice had built the foundation for this moment. The galaxy had been silent toward humans for too long, and that silence had been a form of respect the aliens did not understand. Patience had been humanity's weapon, and it had worked better than anyone could have imagined. The humans had waited, learned, prepared, and finally revealed themselves. And now, no one would forget. Even the aliens who survived the encounter carried the memory of human fire and precision. They had assumed superiority, thought victory was guaranteed, and had laughed at Earth's quiet colonies. Now they understood the truth. Humans were cunning, determined, and relentless. The galaxy's perception of humanity had shifted forever, and with it, the balance of power had changed. On the Mothership's bridge, the crew began reviewing data from the battle. They analyzed alien movements, weaknesses, and responses. Every mistake by the enemy had been recorded, every advantage noted. Humanity was not only alive, but learning, adapting, and preparing for what lay ahead. They were no longer passive participants. In the galaxy, they were architects of their own destiny. The first Mothership, though enormous and powerful, was only the beginning. Humanity had built fleets in secret, hidden reserves of weapons, and countless defenses throughout the solar system. They had waited until the perfect moment to reveal their strength, and now the galaxy knew that patience could be more dangerous than aggression. As Ilara looked around at her crew, she realized that this victory was about more than defeating an enemy. It was about identity. Humanity had proven that they were not defined by their size, their lack of empires, or the laughter of others. They were defined by resilience, ingenuity, and the courage to stand up even when the odds seemed impossible. Across human colonies, transmissions shared the story of the Mothership's awakening. Artists, writers, and historians began chronicling the events, understanding that this was a moment that would define a generation, a species, and a galaxy. The humans' quiet patience had transformed into a roar that no civilization could ignore. Yet, Even in triumph, Alara knew there would be challenges ahead. The aliens had learned, adapted, and would return, perhaps stronger, perhaps with allies. Humanity's awakening had drawn attention, and attention in the galaxy was never without consequence. But she also knew that humanity was ready. They had waited, learned, and grown in ways the galaxy could not see, and their first strike had shown that even the smallest whispers could become storms. In the quiet moments between battles, humans reflected on what they had become. They were not merely survivors, they were protectors, warriors, and visionaries. They had discovered a new identity, one forged in silence and revealed in fire, and in that revelation lay both pride and responsibility. Kyle Malik walked along, the observation deck staring at the stars with a mixture of awe and determination. "We've changed the galaxy," he whispered, "and we're just getting started." Ilara joined him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Yes," she said, "we've changed it. And now, the universe will learn to respect humans, not for fear of strength alone, but for the courage to rise when no one believed in us." The stars continued to burn, indifferent yet witnessing humanity's ascent. Across the galaxy, civilizations would rethink their strategies, their assumptions, and their understanding of what a species underestimated could achieve. Humans had proven that silence was not weakness, patience was not inaction, and unity could overcome even the greatest, arrogance. In that moment, humanity was not just surviving. They were claiming their place among the stars. The first mothership, glowing with residual energy from the battle, moved steadily through the void, a symbol of resilience, strength, and hope. The galaxy had laughed at Earth's silence, and now it had seen humanity's roar. Commander Singh looked out at the stars, her heart filled with quiet pride and cautious hope. "We have begun," she whispered, "and the universe will never forget that humans have arrived." The galaxy had changed forever, and humanity, once small and quiet, now stood as a force that could no longer be ignored. The galaxy was never the same after that day. The laughter of alien fleets had been replaced by cautious silence, whispers of fear and awe at what humanity had revealed. The first mothership moved steadily through the void, its engines glowing, like a heartbeat, carrying the weight of a species that had refused to be dismissed. Commander Ilara Singh stood on the bridge, gazing at the stars as if reading their reactions. Every point of light was a witness, every distant world a potential ally or enemy. But now, humanity had a voice in the cosmos, and it was no longer a whisper, it was a roar. "We've come far," Kyle Malik said softly, standing beside her. His voice carried exhaustion, wonder, and pride all at once. "And yet, it feels like this is only the beginning." Ilara nodded. "Yes, this is the first step. But the story we've started today will be told across the stars for generations. We've broken their assumptions, shattered their arrogance. They will never see us as they once did." Across the mothership, crew members moved with quiet purpose. Each station, each sensor, each weapon system was not just a tool. It was a promise that humanity would survive, would rise, and would never again be underestimated. From Mars to Earth, to the hidden colonies beyond Neptune, humans watched, waiting for news, hoping for signs that the universe had begun to change. And it had. Alien civilizations that once saw Earth as insignificant were now recalculating. They studied humanity with caution, analyzing strategy, technology, and resilience. Even the largest empires could not ignore what had happened. The humans had struck decisively, proving that patience, intelligence, and unity could challenge even the most powerful forces in the galaxy. The first mothership, now fully operational, moved to the outer edges of the solar system. Its massive hull glowed faintly, a silent signal to the galaxy. Humanity was awake, aware, and ready. Hidden fleets began to emerge from their secret stations, smaller vessels aligning with the Mothership, forming the beginnings of a fleet that could defend Earth and its colonies. For decades, humanity had been underestimated, but now, the universe had no choice but to take notice. Ilara Singh addressed her crew, her voice steady and full of pride. "We have done what many thought impossible. We have shown the galaxy that silence does not mean weakness, that patience can be a weapon, and that courage can change the course of history. Never forget this moment, because it is the foundation of our future." Around her, the crew nodded, their faces reflecting the gravity and wonder of their achievement. They were exhausted, yet exhilarated. They had done what no one expected. They had turned whispers into a roar. Back on Earth, people gathered beneath, the stars witnessing the faint glow of the Mothership in distant orbit. Families, children, and scientists alike felt the power of humanity's awakening. They understood instinctively that their species had grown beyond what anyone had believed possible. Humanity was no longer meek. Humanity was no longer silent. Humanity had arrived. Across the galaxy, alien fleets who had survived the first encounter recounted the story with disbelief and fear. "They were quiet," one commander said, voice trembling. "We thought they were weak. But their silence, it hid a storm we could not prepare for." Humans, however, did not celebrate. With arrogance, they had learned patience and humility in silence. They knew that the battle had shown their strength, but it had also revealed them to the galaxy. Future encounters would be harder, and enemies would be prepared. Ilara Singh reminded her crew of this truth constantly. "Power is not victory," she said. "Understanding, strategy, and unity are our true weapons. We must wield them wisely." Kale Malik walked along the observation deck, gazing at the stars with a mixture of awe and determination. "We've changed the galaxy," he whispered, "and they will remember us forever." "Yes," Ilara said softly beside him. "But it's not just about fear. It's about respect. They will never forget humans, but they must also learn that we are not here to destroy indiscriminately. We are here to survive, to rise, and to protect our home." The Mothership moved further, into the void, carrying its silent promise to distant systems. Planets and stars passed by, indifferent, yet illuminated by the fire of humanity's awakening. Humanity's voice had joined the cosmic chorus, loud and clear, and it was a voice that refused to be ignored. In the hidden colonies, humans rebuilt and expanded. Lessons from the battle were studied and shared, strategies refined, and new technologies tested. Humanity had been underestimated for centuries, but now every person understood that they had the power to change the galaxy. Patience, preparation, and courage had brought them to this moment. The universe had mocked their silence, and now that silence had become a legend. Ilara Singh stood once more on the bridge, her gaze fixed on the distant stars. "We have done what we set out to do," she said. "We have shown the galaxy that humanity is not to be dismissed. But this is only the beginning. The universe is vast, and our journey has only started. We must continue to rise, to grow, and to prove that we belong among the stars." The crew understood. They had fought, they had won, and they had revealed themselves. But they also knew the responsibility of power. The universe was watching, and humanity's future depended on wisdom as much as strength. In the far reaches of the galaxy, alien commanders convened in silence. They remembered the fire, the precision, and the courage of the humans. They remembered how quickly arrogance had turned to fear, and they realized collectively that the species they had laughed at for centuries had changed the balance of power forever. Humanity was no longer silent. Humanity was a force to be respected, feared, and understood. On the Mothership, Kale. Malik and Ilara Singh stood together looking out at the endless void. "Do you think they'll ever understand us?" Kyle asked softly. "They will," Ilara replied, her voice calm and full of certainty. "Not because we demand it, but because they have seen what patience, courage, and unity can create. Humanity's voice is loud enough now, and it will never be ignored." The stars burned brightly, indifferent, yet witnessing humanity's rise. Across light years of space, civilizations recalculated their strategies, reconsidered their assumptions, and learned to respect the humans they had once dismissed. And the humans themselves, quiet, determined, and resilient, continued forward, ready to claim their place in the galaxy, not through conquest alone, but through courage, intelligence, and the unyielding will to survive and thrive. The Mothership moved steadily, a colossal beacon of human achievement, carrying within it the hopes and dreams of a species that had waited, prepared, and finally spoken. Its engines glowed like molten fire, and the stars it passed seemed to pale in comparison. Humanity had been silent, underestimated, and dismissed. And now, the galaxy had seen the full force of its voice. Commander Singh whispered one final time, for herself and for all those who had built, fought, and believed. "We were silent, but we were never weak, and now we will never be ignored." The universe held its breath as humanity's journey continued. The first Mothership, blazing through the void, had changed everything. Silence had become fire, patience had become power, and the species that had once been laughed at now stood tall among the stars. The aliens had laughed at humanity's silence. Humanity had listened, prepared, and risen. And now, their roar would echo across the galaxy forever.